Right now, we don't have really any meaningful slippage protection. So you can't revert your trade. Once it's in, it's going through no matter what, which was a decision we made at the time because we wanted to launch. And we thought that it would be, it would be fine. And to a large extent, it has been. We put in global slippage protection to make sure that if we really are out of liquidity, we're not going to process any trades. We're not going to give anyone like a really bad deal just because we've run out of money. So that's something that we've done. But actually having slippage limits and actually being able to send money back is something that ChainFlip has not had to this point. So fill or kill is exactly what it sounds like. It's if you can't fill my trade, kill the trade and give me back my money. So that's a feature that's coming very soon. Something that we think is a fairly large reason why people who are given the option of swapping between ThorChain and ChainFlip, even if there is a slightly better price and better time, when they click on the the ChainFlip option, it's made clear to them that the slippage limits aren't really that great. And so what are you going to do? You're probably going to pick the safer option, even though it's not as good. So that's going to change pretty soon. Doesn't affect the bidding system. It just means when the trade is executed, if it doesn't meet the criteria set by the user, the swap is reverted. And it can actually retry again. So if it doesn't work the first time, it can wait for a while. This is all specified by the user. So just really giving traders a lot more control over what's going to happen. So that's one thing. Streaming swaps, I think, or DCA as we've come to call it, is probably the biggest one that's going to affect it. So rather than having 200K as a single swap go through and compete with the instantaneous liquidity on the market for that, we can actually divide that swap up into a range of chunks and much like ThorChain, process it over time. The difference being the bidding system is still in place. It's still intent-based the whole way through. So that means we can process much larger chunks with a much shorter execution time and still be really competitive in that regard. So that's another great feature that I think is going to make a huge difference. Probably going to be the key driver of our competitive stance in the coming months. And then other things are not so effective on the bidding system itself. Maybe with the exception of Boost. Boost is a system that we are putting in place on top of the existing system to skip one part of the process that's required in all cases, which is the deposit. So whether you're providing liquidity or you're doing a swap, you have to have money in the system in order to do either of those things. And the thing is with Bitcoin is that it is a dinosaur chain. And so, you can wait an hour for those deposits to go through, depending on what's happening with the block time and everything else. It's also very variable. Sometimes there'll just be really slow blocks and there's nothing you can do about it, which makes it difficult, especially for liquidity providers who, are trying to rebalance the system. But when that rebalancing takes over an hour because Bitcoin is just so slow, you can have a situation where we're missing out on a lot of trade flow because we're not able to balance those books. So Boost is designed to give passive liquidity providers an opportunity to put up Bitcoin collateral. We're doing Bitcoin first. We might do others later. But put up that collateral and essentially loan that collateral to the incoming deposit. Once the system has seen that a deposit is going to happen, although it hasn't been confirmed with enough block confirmations yet, we can actually allow that collateral to be forward on to complete the swap or the LP deposit to allow traders and LPs to much more quickly access the assets that they have in the market so they can capitalize on opportunities such as incoming trade flow, or maybe there's a particular price that they want and they don't think it'll be there in an hour, so they want to do the swap now. So that's all paid for by fees by those users. And I think that's pretty damn cool that you can end up doing a Bitcoin to Ethereum swap in like 30 seconds in the absolute best case scenario. But that's yet another feature. But the underlying JIT AMM mechanism itself isn't really affected directly by any of these. The fundamental market model remains the same and it remains effective. So these are all just amplification mechanisms that we can use to boost the effectiveness of the underlying technology that we've developed.
And with the boost feature and lending the collateral, is that something that's going to be more institutional focused? Is it something where users would be able to access that via a UI? And
Oh
what
yeah,
do the
yeah.
rewards kind of look like for that?
Well, we don't know what the rewards look like yet because we don't have any data on how many people use Boost. Obviously, it doesn't exist yet. But yeah, no, the Boost system is currently live on the mainnet, but it's sort of disabled right now. The UI for it is developed for swaps, but we wanted to launch it with the LPing side of it as well. So any user will be able to go along, create an LP account, and then add collateral to boost pools to participate in this system. So this is something that it's going to be fully open, permissionless, and available to everyone from the very beginning. We don't really think it's going to require that much capital to be effective. Given the amount of liquidity in the system currently, I think for even a handful of community members who have a couple of Bitcoin lying around, to put those in the pools is going to be more than enough to meet the needs of the system in its current state. So I don't think there's really any reason to seek out institutional investment there or do any side deals or anything. This is just something we're going to open up in the protocol, have it be permissionless, have it be accessible, and through the UI, just anyone will be able to do it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love those types of tools. And when you put up Bitcoin as collateral, does it go so it's presumably it's leaving your wallet and entering some sort of pool or vault? How does that kind of look from a liquidity perspective? Is it just kind of sitting there, lying in wait until it's needed?
Yeah, exactly. So we got boost pools, which we've developed. And so you can choose to put your collateral in any one of three pools with different fee levels. We're going to let the market decide how much risk tolerance they have. But essentially you just put it in the boost pool. And then when someone wants to boost, it will check to see how much boost liquidity there is available in the lowest tier pool. It'll exhaust that. It'll then move up to the next highest tier pool if it's a bigger one, and so on, until it can until it can gather enough Bitcoin to allow the boost to take place. And once that does take place, then the boost in the capital in the boost pools is sort of locked away until the underlying deposit is confirmed in the system again. So yes, it does leave your wallet. It enters into the ChainFlip vault system, but you control your ChainFlip, the collateral that you have on ChainFlip using your own wallet, which is a state chain wallet. Used to have to use Polkadot.js for that. Now we figured out how to use MetaMask snaps to allow you to just use your MetaMask wallet to make that happen, which I think is super sick. So you still do retain control of it, but yes, it is within the custody of the ChainFlip network as a whole. It's not unlike putting it in a smart contract, right? You don't see it in your token balance anymore, of course. You have sort of a virtual representation of it, and the underlying collateral itself is sitting in a broader pool, smart contract, or in this case, in the vault, the native vault on the chain that you're providing collateral to. So yeah, that's kind of how that works.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I love that idea. I think it basically just sounds like it's another way to pool and earn on your passive crypto balances, which I know a lot of people are sitting on and looking for ways to earn.